back.
What episode is this?
Either 14 or 15. Let me check.
It's 15. All right, we're starting in 5 seconds.
5 seconds. What are we talking about?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the BenchWire podcast. Episode 15, I believe. I will double check.
Yes, it is. I just double checked.
All right, it is episode 15. Today we had a good week of football that we're going to talk about. First and foremost, we're going to touch on the subject that we talked about on the weekly predictions, but we're going to actually go into it a little more, I guess, even though we went into it pretty deep. Tua Tagovailoa.
Yup.
Another concussion. Third one of the season.
Not good.
Not good. You think that they should rest him for the rest of the year?
Yes, I do.
To keep him healthy, which is obviously fair. I think they should rest him for the regular season, which is just 2 more games. And I think in the playoffs, I mean, you would have given him at this point now 2 weeks, which is, I mean, it's not a lot of time for a concussion recovery, but I don't know. I might agree with you.
Now you agree with me. See,
because now that you see, this is why we go in depth, right? Because now I'm thinking about it a little more.
You got to shut them down. I don't even think they'll make the playoffs. That's my opinion. But
they're 8-6. Ooh,
yeah, they've been bad.
They've
lost 4 straight. They lost to the Packers. I know.
Ooh, I might have to delete the podcast where I said I think that they could make the Super Bowl.
Now you got to keep that up there. But I think the Dolphins, they got to shut Tua down. Tua just hasn't been himself. I think they need to reevaluate everything, make sure he's getting the proper doctors evaluating him, and just evaluate that whole medical staff because they're pretty bad. Their spotters just haven't been great for Tua this year, and they just need to reevaluate the whole medical staff and make sure Tua is being properly trained by that medical staff and is ready for each game next season. And I'm excited to see what Teddy Bridgewater could do this week. Maybe he can win a game for him. We'll see. But Tua, you need to rest up. We need you next season. You had a great first half of the season. Has it been your second half of the season that you all wanted to happen? But I think you'll be good enough to go for next season if you do everything right.
So I guess the question then, how would you evaluate McDaniel's first season as a head coach?
I think McDaniels did everything he possibly could to have the best season for the Miami Dolphins. They look really good the first half of the year. Second half of the year, they've been playing better teams.
Growing pains.
Tua hasn't been himself because of the concussions. So I guess that's kind of an excuse on why they haven't been that same type of team they were in the first half of the season. But I think you need to, like I said, make sure Tua is healthy for next year and just build more through the draft and through free agency. And I think you'll be a team that will be a top dog in AFC next year and competing with the Bills in that division. So if you do all those steps, I think you'll be perfectly fine for next year.
Yeah. I would agree with the Mike McDaniels take. I think, again, in the beginning of the season, it was kind of surprising how well they were doing. He's a rookie head coach. He hasn't been there before, and they looked really good. Then later in the season, like you said, started playing some more difficult opponents, and you start to see him get outcoached. And, I mean, in the 49ers game, they caught him saying, that's my bad. That's on me. So, again, growing pains, it happens with rookie coaches. We saw it with Nick Sirianni. Only coach I haven't really seen it with is like Brian Davis.
What did he do?
Huh?
What about Brian Dable?
No, I said about coaches with growing pains. And I just started thinking about like Sirianni. He had some growing pains, and I was like thinking of your guy, and I'm like, wait, has he really had any?
They just finally started playing good teams, and we just don't have a great roster. So
yeah, so we won't really see the growing pains until you have a good roster and you lose to another good team. But
that time will come.
It will.
Yes, rookie coaches have growing pains. Mike McDaniels had a great first half of the year. Second half of the year wasn't the greatest. Tua wasn't fully healthy, so that's a factor in why they've had some growing pains.
Should probably look into maybe a different defensive coordinator, maybe.
Possibly.
I mean, their defense hasn't been bad, but like just with the guys they got on there, you'd expect it to be a lot better.
Yeah, I think the secondary, like Byron Jones, he hasn't been healthy. So I think you need to evaluate there and make sure you get guys that are healthy. Byron Jones, I think he could be a really good corner in this league, but just
I mean,
gotta
he's
stay
already
healthy.
proved it.
Yeah. And just make sure you're not spending too much money on a lot of players. I know you just did that with Bradley Chubb. I don't think he's one of those elite guys. I think he's a little overrated in my opinion, but like make sure you're spending your money wisely and don't
Spend it
make
on an offensive line for your franchise quarterback that has been concussed 3 times in one season.
Yes, Teron Armstead has been pretty good for Tua, but other than that, you need to reevaluate the offensive line as well because Tua is your future, and if you can't protect him, he won't be there for much longer.
Yeah. So that brings us to another topic here. It has nothing to do with the health, but I mean, actually, you know what it does? Bills and Bears, right? 2 running quarterbacks. Josh Allen, he ran quite a bit in this game. We also saw the week before with the Dolphins, he ran as well. And then Justin Fields, he runs a lot as well. So, the question is, will running quarterbacks, we always say that they're the future, but then we see all of these injuries, and I guess my question is it the future? You know? Because guys like Joe Burrow, he had his injury last year. Or actually, wait, was that
2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago, and then this year in the offseason, he had something done. But, he's been relatively healthy. Tom Brady, he's obviously been able to stay healthy. All the quarterbacks that don't run have been really healthy. We saw Lamar, he's been hurt. Josh Allen got hurt. I don't know, was his running? He had an elbow injury, but was it from like a fall or something?
I'm not too sure.
I think it was from a hit, like a sack or something. But yeah. Hurts, he got hurt running. Like I said, Lamar did.
Hurts didn't get hurt running. He got hurt on a sack.
No, he got hurt running. He ran and then guy landed on him.
Okay, like rolling out.
No, like he already gained like 4 or 5 yards, and then as he went down, the guy came on his back.
But yeah, I just think like Justin Fields, you just gotta be able to protect yourself while running, and I don't think running all the time is sustainable in this league because we got some dogs on the defensive side of the ball in this league, and if you don't protect yourself, if you don't slide, you're gonna get hurt. And we've seen some injuries this year. Some were because of turf, but some were because of contact. And I think, the Bears, they don't have the greatest offensive line, so that doesn't help Mr. Justin Fields. But if you're a quarterback and you're running the ball and you're about to get hit, you better slide. That's what I think. I think quarterbacks that like to truck people,
Josh
Allen, and Daniel Jones does it sometimes. I don't know why.
It's crazy because you would think that Hurts would do it, but he slides all the time.
Yes,
he doesn't
always have to slide because you are the number 1 player on your offense, and you need to protect yourself in order to sustain success. And players that don't do that, in my opinion, are players that are not sustainable, and that's why they always keep getting hurt. So they just need to do a better job of protecting themselves, and the front office needs to do a better job of protecting the quarterback by building an offensive line around them. So that's where I think the game needs to go forward.
Yeah, that's fair. I was part of the community thought that the running quarterbacks were going to take over the NFL, and I still think that they will. But I think that as much as it's cool to see a quarterback run the way they do, it's more fun seeing your quarterback on the field.
Yes, I would rather
Jalen Hurts be healthy right now than him running all the time.
Yes,
and making cool plays. Like the ankle breakers, all that. I would get rid of that if it just meant that he was on the field right now.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's a difference between you losing and winning a game. So that's why I think the quarterbacks need to do a better job of protecting themselves, and the front office needs to build an offensive line around these guys they see a future for their team around. So that's where I stand on that topic.
All right. I want you to talk a little bit about your game with the Vikings. Obviously, the Vikings, we said it on the weekly pick video.
Yep.
They aren't really a 12-win team. They're more of a 9-win, 10-win team.
Getting carried by Mr. Justin Jefferson. Yes,
they get carried by Jefferson. But at the end of the day, they are still a good team, right? So when you guys were, came back a little bit there at the end, and we saw Daniel Jones actually clutch up.
He put a good drive together.
What does it say about Daniel Jones' future with the Giants? Being able to step up in a big moment, and then obviously, what does it say about your coaching staff and then just your team? Because you guys obviously are not a talented roster other than a few positions.
Yeah.
So, to be able to stay in a game like this, it's just really cool.
I think Jones is going to be our future for the next 2 years. I think he's earned the right to get a second contract with the team. Nothing long-term, nothing like $50 million a year. I would probably say like 25 to 30 million for the next 2 seasons. I think you need to build a team around Mr. Daniel Jones. You need to get him weapons. He has not had weapons all year. He's had to throw to guys like Darius Slayton, who was not even starting at the beginning of the year. Isaiah Hodgins, who was...
Can I ask you a genuine question?
Okay.
Who was the last receiver that he had that was a true weapon?
A true weapon? Like a receiver one?
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever had one.
Exactly. So
like he's had Golden Tate, who's not a receiver one. He's had Sterling Shepard, who's not a receiver one. Kenny Galladay was supposed to be that receiver one, has not lived up to that whatsoever.
So that kind of sucks for you guys who are trying to see if
Daniel Jones could be that guy. We just don't have a receiver one. And I think you have to go out and get a guy that could be a receiver one this offseason or in the draft if you find someone that you like. I think you know
what? Kayshon Boutte, the LSU receiver, he just he was going to head back, but he committed to the draft out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So the receiving core in the draft is pretty good.
There are options out there for the Giants to get a hopefully good receiver this offseason. But I think you need to build, an offense around Daniel Jones. I think you're locked up at running back. Saquon is your guy. I think they're going to re-sign him. I don't know how much, but I think he gets a contract either way. I don't think you let him go. When you draft him number 2 overall, you got to keep him. But receiver-wise, you need to get him a receiver. I think I would go ahead and call the Colts right now and ask about Michael Pittman. If the Colts are trying to do a full-on rebuild, I think that's a guy that might be available this offseason. I feel like he could be not a receiver like one, but a good step in the direction to getting another receiver.
No, he could easily be a receiver one. He's really good.
I think he's really good, but I think he needs some progress and development. And
he's not going to be that guy that gets 1,500 yards.
Yes, I think.
But there's not many of them that do that.
I know. But
honestly, Kenny Galladay for Devontae Adams. Who says no?
I do, because that is a ripoff.
You got ripped off?
No. Raiders are getting ripped off. For us, it's amazing.
No. You said what you said. You're getting ripped off.
No. It's a ripoff for the Raiders. But yeah, I think we are getting ripped off either way. But yeah, Daniel Jones, he's earned a second contract with the team. I don't think it's big money, but it's enough money to keep him stable for the next 2 years. Um, and I think the coaching staff has done a great job in making him a better quarterback. And he's done so much better outside the pocket. Throwing the run has been so much better compared to Joe Judge and the Pat Shermer days. Um, Now that he has a competent head coach, we're finally seeing strides with Daniel Jones. He's had multiple fourth quarter comebacks this season. And with the receivers we had, it's something special to see. And I think, if the defense played, if we had, a Dory Jackson, Xavier McKinney, I think we beat that Vikings team. We just don't have corners right now to stop those type of offenses. So I think that's another reason why we lost that game. But solely on Daniel Jones, I think he's earned the right to play next season for us.
Yeah, I do want to quickly, obviously a shout out by me means nothing because I'm just a nobody, but I'm going to shout out Brian Dable because he easily could have thrown in the towel this season. He could have been like, you know what, Daniel Jones, he hasn't been good yet in his career. He doesn't look like the future. We're just going to throw in the towel. We're going to get Bryce Young or whoever in this draft. But he decided to get in there and make you guys compete right away. And there were some times with Daniel Jones where it was, you were concerned. You were like, hey, he's just not the guy. And Dable didn't give up on him.
Yeah.
He kept giving him the confidence he needed, and you're seeing it kind of pay off now.
Yeah, it gets better each and every game. So there's something there with Brian Dable.
Yeah, and then with Daniel Jones, I saw a lot of people say that he doesn't have the tools to even be a capable, or not capable, but like a franchise quarterback, and I disagree.
Yeah,
because
they're still in the middle of a rebuild, so it's hard to do that.
Look at the numbers this year for him. I mean, with having no weapons, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a top 10 quarterback. Like there's some Giants fans that try to say it, but I mean, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, over 3,000 yards, 90.7 quarterback rating. I mean, he's only 25. Like he has upside.
He does have upside.
Just because you guys sign him for 2 years doesn't mean that. I mean, you sign him for 2 years because you're not going to fully commit to it yet. But if you get a receiver one and he starts doing some franchise quarterback type things, after those 2 years, you're going to pay him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Daniel Jones. I always have liked him. He's had some funny moments. He's kind of been a joke for the last few years.
He's been a meme.
The tripping in Philadelphia.
Yep.
All of his really, really bad interceptions. But, I mean,
protected the ball this year.
He has some upside.
Yeah, I think he's earned the right to be our quarterback for the next 2 years. So,
all right, let's go ahead. What is wrong with the Buccaneers? Let's talk about that. I know that they won their game, but it's a Trace McSorley-led Cardinals, and you beat them by 3 points in overtime.
Yeah, very disappointing. But you still got the job done.
It's just what is going on.
Yeah,
it's got to be the head coach.
I think it has to do with Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with that offensive line not being healthy. The loss of Gronk really hurt them. And I think Tom Brady's divorce played a little factor in the offense as well. But, yeah, the offense hasn't been clicking. I feel like they're not even trying at 100% speed. But Leonard Fournette, he's been hurt. He has that foot injury, was it? Lisfranc? Is that how you say it?
Lisfranc,
yeah. He has that. So he's been dealing with that. The team just hasn't been fully healthy. And I feel like Tom Brady is ready to leave the Buccaneers and find a new home. I think he's done with the Bucs. He did everything he could. And he's ready for another fresh start and ready to compete and win again next year. I think he's done with the Bucs and is tired of this team because they're not a team that is willing to go all out and compete for Tom Brady. They're a team that's just dogging it right now and barely squeaking in the playoffs. So I think they need to, I don't know. I don't think Tom Brady stays there. So the Bucs, they need to reevaluate their whole organization. And I don't think Todd Bowles is there next year. And I think you have to start looking towards the future and finding the next quarterback for your offense. So that's where I stand with them right now.
Yeah. So I think it's a lot of Todd Bowles. He's had opportunities to be a coach in the past, and he hasn't done well with them. So, he got another opportunity this year, and guess what? Hasn't done well. I mean, I just don't think he has head coach material. As for the offense, I think it's just, again, a lot of different things going into it. A lot of different injuries. And obviously when there's injuries, there's inconsistency. And obviously you're unable to get into a rhythm. Brady, he's gone through a lot of stuff personally, like you mentioned. I don't think he's going to leave the Bucs. I think he is going to stay there. Florida just seems like a place where he would want to stay. And I know that he's kind of committed to football over his own marriage, but
yeah, I think he doesn't retire. I just think he goes elsewhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just don't know where he would go, to be honest with you. I don't really – I mean, the 49ers, but I feel like, again, you're doing a disservice to Trey Lance.
I don't think he goes to the Niners, though. I just don't see that happening. But,
if he went to the Niners, they'd win a Super Bowl.
Oh, instantly.
That year.
Do you think
Do you think he could do a 1 year with the Niners and then retire?
Do you think the Niners would just make Trey Lance sit for another season, though? I don't.
Can't. It would be his third year in a row.
That would ruin his development so much. But if it's for a Super Bowl, yeah. If it is for a Super Bowl, though, I guess you do it. But at the same time, it's just hard to do where the Niners are right now. But if Tom Brady wants to be there, then you make it happen. I don't.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Ooh, something just happened?
Tom Brady, if he were to leave the Bucs, with how things are going with the Raiders right now.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
That would be awful.
You don't think he would go with Devontae?
I don't think it will be good.
I don't think it would be a guaranteed Super Bowl.
It's not, because the Raiders defensively aren't that good.
But that's a nice one to think of. And then,
if I was Tom Brady, my destinations would be the Niners. Say Tua is done and he hangs it up, right?
It's possible, but I don't think that he's going to hang out.
I would say the Dolphins.
The Jets?
I wouldn't go to – if I was him, no. You can't go to Jets. You've hated the Jets forever. You can't do that.
Saints?
No, I don't think that would happen.
You know who I think there is a chance he could go back to the Patriots.
I don't see that happening either. If Bill Belichick isn't there, then maybe.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean, though. We're having all these, if it's not the 49ers, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard. Who's a free agent? Who's all the free agent quarterbacks this year? I know Daniel Jones, Brady.
I don't know.
Is Jared Goff still a free agent?
No, he got one more year.
All right, I'll look it up. But I think the Niners are probably his best destination.
I honestly don't think that they would hesitate if Brady wanted to play for them. Now, the only issue is that Brady hasn't played that well this year.
True.
So it's, it comes down to, do you want a guy that, 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 4,100 yards. It's a down season for Brady, which is crazy to say, but yeah, I don't know.
He could.
Oh, but you know what, though? You know who Brady loves?
Who does he love?
Josh McDaniels.
Oh, we said the Raiders already.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, I thought kind of with you, it's a possibility, but I don't see it. but they do have Josh McDaniels, and Tom Brady loved Josh McDaniels.
It's
And they do have Chandler
possibility.
Jones and Max Crosby. I mean, they're not too many pieces away on that defense.
If I were him,
I stay with the Bucs.
that's how I rank it. I'll say the Niners, the Bucs, if they get rid of Todd Bowles,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3.
Come on, Raiders.
3 would either be,
Well, if he's not going to the Raiders, where's he going?
I don't know. I'm thinking.
Like, realistically, Miami's not an option.
How about I don't think he'll go here, but Tennessee.
No.
Say they get a receiver somehow, some way. Yeah, I don't see Tennessee happening. How about no? That won't happen.
What?
Nope, I don't want to say it.
Were you going to say the Giants?
No, I was not going to say the Giants.
No, who are you going to say?
I was going to say the Cardinals.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. It was a joke. All right, this is how I rank it. Niners, Bucs without Todd Bowles. 3, I'll put Raiders there. And 4, I'll put the Saints.
All right, I'll agree with that ranking.
But yeah, if Tom Brady wants to play at the Niners, and the Niners don't feel confident in Trey Lance, you pull the trigger and make it happen. But yeah, the Bucs just have been very dysfunctional this year. If they beat the Cowboys in the wild card round, I would kind of be scared of them just because it's Tom Brady.
Man, I don't want to face him again.
But yeah, that's the only thing about the Bucs. If they beat the Cowboys, right, then I would start to worry about them again. Just cause I don't know, I don't feel confident in my team if they're playing against Tom Brady in the playoffs. I just don't. But
hey, man, the Eagles and Giants, they're a team that had their way with them.
Yep. But I would say Tom Brady leaves the Bucs this offseason, and I think he goes to the Niners.
Yeah, that's what going to happen too.
I think it happens now. Just like thinking it. Yeah, I think that would be.
It just seems so too good to be true.
And then if he wins the Super Bowl, he will retire, and
yeah,
it would be him riding off into the sunset, winning a Super Bowl for 3
with
teams.
his childhood team.
Yeah, and winning his last one with the childhood team. So, yeah.
Nah, that needs to happen now.
Yeah, we made it happen, so it needs to happen.
We just spoke that into existence, so when it happens, you come back and you drop a link.
You thank BenchWire. It's all because of us.
Yeah. Let's get into my game.
What's up?
I said let's get to my game.
Oh, yeah? What, the Eagles and Saints?
No, Cowboys.
Oh, Eagles and Cowboys. Oh, we'll talk about that game. Okay.
Yeah, so Jalen Hurts didn't play. The defense gave up a lot of points, and they also gave up a lot of third downs. They had a 3rd and 30 that they allowed. People were trying to say that Darius Slay got cooked and all that. He didn't.
T.Y. Hilton, man.
Yeah, he had one good play for them. Good, congrats.
That was fun to watch.
It was a fun game. Probably up there for game of the year. It was just back and forth. It's been a minute since we've seen a game go back and forth like that.
Yeah, I won't say it's game of the year, but it was a really good game.
It's up there.
That weekend was a really good game.
Yeah. See, it's hard because I feel like I want to give credit to the Cowboys because obviously they scored 40, but I feel like the Eagles shot themselves in the foot. I think the Eagles had the game.
I think the Eagles, yes, 4 turnovers. You can't let that happen. Miles Sanders, that was a very costly turnover at the end of the game. And I think the Eagles go down the field that drive and score.
I did want to mention, as an Eagles fan, I'm a little concerned right now because these last few weeks it's been pretty rough. I know it's just our second loss of the season, and I'm obviously grateful that our team is good, but I just feel like there's a lot of mistakes every week that come playoff time,
Can't happen.
they can't happen, and there's 2 more weeks, and then it's the playoffs.
Well, they
The
should have
Washington game, we shot ourselves in the foot. And guess what happened? We lost. Cowboys game, we shot ourselves in the foot. Guess what happened? We lost. If we do that in the playoffs, it's over. It's lose and you're done. Like, you don't get another game. Like, it's not like the NBA where there's multiple games. You have one opportunity to move on, and I'm a little worried right now. I definitely am. I feel like mistakes, they've been way too frequent. All right, yeah. So we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. Yeah, the Eagles, they continue to shoot themselves in the foot, and it's gotten to the point where, because of how frequent it has been, I've actually grown a little bit concerned, not only for our chances in the playoff. Like, I'm actually concerned there's a chance. I mean, obviously, there's always a chance that you could lose in the first round, but like, I don't. You know what I don't want to say it because like it sounds stupid, right? I mean, you know how good the Eagles are.
Yes,
But I don't think, like, in the divisional round, I think there's a chance we could lose.
who would you play? The Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yes,
They're a team that we tend to shoot ourselves in the foot against.
And I think another thing is injuries are hurting you right now. Losing Lane Johnson, even though they said he might be back for the playoffs.
So yeah, he confirmed that he will be back in the postseason. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he's not playing this week. He'll probably get a few snaps next week, hopefully. Avonte Maddox, it's crazy, right? All the players that have gotten hurt are good players.
Yeah, players that you need in this playoff run.
Yeah, so it was bound to it was bound to happen.
But yeah, I don't think Lane Johnson will be 100% though, so that's gonna hurt. I think a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because what was it, the abdominal area, something with that, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to affect him too much. It's one of those where you just have to get surgery in the off season. He'll be back by the start of next season. It's nothing big. They're just going to shut him down so that he's good to go for the postseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give him 2 weeks of rest here, and he'll be back. He'll be ready to go. He's a warrior. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried more about Avonte Maddox.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. He was playing really good that Cowboys game, and then all of a sudden he just got hurt with the toe injury, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think it's turf toe. It's something else. But whatever it is, I know he'll probably be back, but there's no timeable on it, and that's always concerning because, like, when you hear no timeable, does that mean, like, potentially IR, or, like, they could be, like, he could be out this week, or he could be day to day? You know what I mean?
Well, think of it this way. Look how the Giants were with Xavier McKinney. There was no timetable, and he's still hurt. So I think it's going to be like they don't know until, like, after a few weeks.
They said that Xavier's practice window is open, right?
His practice window is now open, but he's been out for at least, 6-7 weeks?
It's kind of crazy.
So, I don't know. I think if Avonte comes back, it would be in the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I mean, we need to get this first round bye. That's the big thing.
I think you do get it. You beat the Saints this week, and you won't have to worry about that anymore. The Saints aren't that good, and I think the Eagles will roll over them with ease.
Well, regardless, if you guys win this week, you won't play starters next week, and we can just get that free W.
Exactly. Because our team will not be able to beat the Eagles' backups. So, because our backups,
you're not going to risk the health of some of your players.
If our backups were good, they would be starting. Oh wait, they are starting. Oh, but I think the Eagles, yeah, there is some concern there. They did shoot themselves in the foot in their 2 losses, but I still think they're a good enough team where they could beat the Saints and beat the Giants next week. But yeah, I would worry about that playoff game. I think that is a game where you need to have zero mistakes and make sure you have everyone healthy that you possibly can to win that game.
Yeah. I
So,
think that's why I'm concerned. The Eagles are just not one of those teams that play mistake-free football.
yeah.
Like, there are some teams that are really good at it. We're not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is probably why some people don't take us too seriously.
Yep.
But yeah. All right. Let's get on. Let's talk about, let's see here. I don't really know what I want to talk about. How about the Lions defense?
Right. Okay. Lions
I mean,
defense.
there's nothing to talk about. They're non-existent, but
They're not. They've been good. They've won what 6 of the last 8 games. They've gotten better. It's not like they've been awful.
they've allowed 37 points.
They're trying for a playoff spot right now. So there's something there. They've gotten better. Yes, the first half of the season wasn't great for them. They won 1 game. But now they have 7 wins and they're competing for a playoff spot. I would say they gotten a little bit better.
No, they've got better, but I mean, let's talk about this past week. The Panthers, they kicked them in the jaw.
Yeah, they just
37-23 final score.
Any given Sunday, man.
It wasn't supposed to be this way.
Yes.
I wanted the Lions to get in.
I don't think the Lions are getting in now. I think
that loss kind of
that hurt them a lot.
Yeah.
I think, to me, the playoffs, I think it's going to probably be the whole NFC East for the NFC East playoff picture.
Yeah.
I think that's how it is. Because I think the Giants beat the Colts this week. And then you'd have the Commanders beating the Browns. I don't, but I do see who the Commanders playing last week of the season. Cowboys?
No, they've already played them twice. Oh, actually, yeah, I think it is the Cowboys.
I think
Yeah, it is.
if the Cowboys rest their starters, the Commanders win that game.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
But they might not be resting their starters to keep the Commanders out of the playoffs because it's that divisional rival. So I don't know. But, yeah, the Commanders, it could go either way this week, I think. But I still have the Browns winning. But, yeah, the Cowboys game, it depends on how the Cowboys are feeling. If they win tonight, which they probably will because the Titans aren't that great, I think the Cowboys will rest their starters.
So
I think the Cowboys will play their starters the
So
first.
this is what's going to happen, right? The Eagles, we play you guys next week at 1 o'clock, I want to say.
Probably.
Yeah, so all of them are to be decided. So depending on what the games look like, if the Eagles were to lose to the Saints, the Cowboys are playing their starters because they have a chance to go for the division.
Yep.
However, it depends on what time the game's at. If the Eagles and Giants play at 1 o'clock and then they play at 4, it'll be a game time decision. If the Eagles lose, they'll play their starters. If the Eagles win, they'll rest.
Well, I think
So it's going to come down to that.
Eagles will win this week, so it won't even matter.
You keep saying that, but the Saints have played really well.
What's the Saints' record again? And who did they beat?
Last week, they beat the Browns.
Now, are the Browns a good team?
No.
Are you really worried about this game?
I am.
Okay. As a Giants fan,
you don't understand,
you
though.
will kill them.
No, but this is the life of an Eagles fan because our team doesn't play mistake-free football. So literally, it is any given Sunday with us.
You've been good for 30. So I think you beat the Saints, and you're not going to have to worry about it. So and I think the Cowboys, the only thing for next Sunday is if the Commanders are playing for a playoff spot, they might keep their starters in just to make them not be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think the Eagles win, Commanders lose this week, Cowboys win this week, Giants win this week, and then Giants will be in. That Giants-Eagles game won't matter because the Eagles will beat the Saints. And then the Cowboys-Commanders game, If the Commanders are playing for a playoff spot, I think the Cowboys will play their starters for at least the first half, at least, and then we'll see. But that's how I think it goes.
All right, let's get to the last topic here. The Jaguars. They
Playoff
beat.
bound.
Yeah,
Not yet, but
they
it's
beat the
looking that
Jets
way.
19-3. Zach Wilson didn't look too hot.
Zach
Chris
Wilson.
Stravler, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He was playing some hard football. He lowered the shoulder pads, but he's not the talk right now. Trevor Lawrence is. He's finally showed up. He's looking not like an MVP, but he's looking like a franchise quarterback finally. 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. By the end of the year, he could have 30-plus touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he's going to have over 4,000 yards. So he finally showed up. He's 23 years old. We all know he has a bright future in this league, but after the start of this season, I mean, I mentioned it on an earlier podcast, but I thought, Trevor Lawrence and other sophomore players, they're kind of supposed to have this thing called a sophomore breakout. Carson Wentz had it. It was his MVP year. Josh Allen had it. But, I was like, you know what? Trevor Lawrence might just have a junior breakout year, right? His third year. But he decided to have a late sophomore breakout year, and he has looked phenomenal.
I think he was drafted number 1 overall for a reason. And I think he will be a top 5 quarterback for years to come.
Yeah, Jacksonville, they're in good hands.
They got their guy.
And then obviously you got to talk about the ETN pick as well because
He's
ETN
been struggling as of late, but he's had a good season.
Well, I mean, he had 83 yards his past game against a really good run defense. He has exactly 1,000 rushing yards on the season. Receiving yards, he has, 267. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I expected him to have more, honestly. But I guess they've just used him more as a running. They've used him more as a running back than the receiving back he was able to be at. But yeah, I mean, everyone judged them for the ETN pick, but it looked like a good pick now. So
yeah,
who would have thought they took 2 Clemson stars and they're doing well?
I know. Look how that translates.
It's almost like you should take players from big schools.
Yeah,
I'm happy Howard Rosen finally decided to do that.
Yeah, and look how it turned out.
Because TCU over LSU, that one hurt.
Just a little bit, because now he might be in that MVP conversation. Just a little bit.
Looks like he's on pace to have not only a Hall of Fame career, but a career where he might be able to, at the end of the day, say he was the best one that's ever done it.
Yeah, he is on pace right now for that, but I think it will slow down a little bit.
It's fine. We got Devontae and AJ. We're good.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. But
wait,
yeah, I think what
are your thoughts on the Jags?
Jaguars, they have, I think, outperformed their expectations. Everyone expected them to be a bottom 5 team, and they've outperformed themselves, and now they're pushing for a playoff spot. I think you got to give credit to Doug Peterson. I think just the coaching change has changed the culture, and they're light years better than what they were last year with Urban Meyer. You could see the Trevor Lawrence experience on how it's better now than ever. I think Trevor Lawrence, like I said, I think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback. I think it's all because of Doug Peterson. And, this offseason, they went out and got some weapons. You got Christian Kirk. Evan Ingram has been good as of late. And then you traded for Calvin Ridley, who I think will be another playmaker for them that will be really good. And I think they're headed in the right direction. I think they're going to be competing with the Titans each and every year for that division now. So I think they're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I
think that's all we got.
I have one more topic.
Oh, you do? Okay, go for it.
So I think it was a few days ago, first ballot Hall of Famer J.J. Watt has announced his retirement.
Okay, yeah.
And it's very sad to see him leave the game of football, but he will go down as one of the greats to ever do it. And, you know, I think he's realized that he has nothing else to play for. He's had a Hall of Fame career. He would like to get a Super Bowl, but he just doesn't want to sign and go on a team and win a Super Bowl like that. Like, he wants to be on the team from the start and the get-go, and that just hasn't happened. And I think he's put his heart and soul into the game and is ready to be done with it, and I think he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So it's been a good career for J.J. Watt. I think he's won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, which is good stuff for him. I wanted him to play with TJ, though. That would have been cool to see, but
yeah,
never happened.
I
But
think he's just not the type to do that.
yeah, he's not the type of guy to do that. He was on the Texans for so long, and was probably, I think he's their best player in franchise history.
Yeah.
Up there with Andre Johnson.
I mean, JJ, he's going to go down as one of the best that's ever done it.
Yep.
I mean, he was, for our generation, you and I mean, he was just, I mean, he's up there with Aaron Donald. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Him and Aaron Donald are pretty much the Lawrence Taylors of our generation.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White.
Yeah, those are our guys. TJ Watt, he's going to be up there one day. He's still pretty young, but yeah, I was really upset when I saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, it only makes sense. He's having such a good year now. He wants to go out not as an old guy that's barely doing anything anymore. He's going to go out having a good season.
Mm-hmm. And being on Hard Knocks. I didn't get to watch that yet, but I probably will now that he's retiring.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good locker room guy. And I think he won Walter Payton Man of the Year as well. So
he did.
That just shows how good of a man he is. And congrats to him and his NFL career. And hopefully he has a good life after football.
He will.
But now I think I'm done. I don't think there's any more topics.
I don't think there is either. So go ahead.
All right. If you enjoyed this podcast, drop a like on this video. Subscribe to our channel if you're new. Do you know when we will be going up on Spotify and Apple Podcast?
Not sure. I have to look a little more into it. So we had an issue with the last one. It's something to do with this app that I have to figure out. A different way to record these. Something I have to figure it out still.
Okay. But hopefully in the near future, we will be on these platforms because we're trying to, at the very least. But yeah, make sure you go leave a like, subscribe. Make sure you follow all our socials. We got a link tree in the description box down below. And that's all we have for you guys today. BenchWire out.